everyone. My name is Brittany Jones-Cooper, and welcome back to Build. After a year of waiting, Dear White People is back. Season 3 of the Netflix series finds us back at Winchester University, a predominantly white school bubbling over with racial tensions. In this season, we see a different side to some of our favorite characters as they encounter issues of tokenism, white privilege, sexual identity, and mental health. Today, I'm sitting down with creator Justin Simien and cast members Logan Browning, Blaine Featherson, and Antoinette Robertson. But first, check out the trailer from season 3.
You know, I'm done with Dear White People.
Is this some Black Mirror shit? Everybody's acting so different from the traits they previously established. You guys used to care.
People still care, but people change. If everyone stayed exactly the same, life would be tedious and predictable. Like a third season of a Netflix show.
Yikes.
Free.
You're listening to Dear White People with Joel Brooks.
Same title, new spin. So, the show's gonna be a little different with your girl. We're going to touch the major issues, both political and pop cultural.
Hunty, it's after Labor Day. What are you doing with all this white?
What, is that problematic?
Yes.
That's problematic.
I'll have guests who know all about the Supreme Court, and guests who think the Supreme Court is a Diana Ross-themed drag race challenge.
Listen up, you bougie mother.
Okay, bitch.
This is the deep end of the gay pool. You still got your little floaties on.
What you need to do is begin every sentence with trigger warning.
No one showed up to Black August today.
Reggie's all booed up. Sam's checked out.
I guess I really don't know what to do. Reality. I need grits.
Coco's on a world domination tour.
I feel like pre-Sasha Fierce Beyonce.
Perfect in every way, yet still not good enough for the relentless white masses.
You just gotta lean in.
I'm guessing her people came in on a different ship than ours.
What?
Where's the lie? She white, right?
Whoever told you life would be comfortable
Lied to you.
sometimes you just need to grow up and accept that you're
I see you've been watching closely. The Order is more powerful than you will ever know. You must kill the narrator.
Okay, no more Scooby-Doo mysteries.
Unless I can be Daphne. Lionel, you're Velma.
That tracks.
We're all in this together.
The only voice you need in your head is your own.
Kill the narrator.
Close your eyes and go to sleep. You're all going to die. Violent, horrible deaths where only your dental records can be used to identify your charred corpses.
Okay, the townspeople are out of pocket.
Think Moonlight meets Sex in the City, but boiling over with all the tea.
Put your hands together for Justin Simien, Logan Browning, Blaine Featherson, and Antoinette Robertson. I have been watching your faces for the last 48 hours because I completely binged the third season. So this is extra fun.
Is it weird?
It's fun. Okay. I love it. This is why I love my job because I am so invested in these characters and I think you guys do amazing work. So it's the best part of my job is when I get to sit down with a cast that I really, really enjoy the show. So thank you for creating this.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
So, we've had to wait a little bit for this season. Wow.
Did y'all?
A little bit.
Really?
Yeah, wasn't it May of 2018? So what was the wait about? What happened?
Listen, I was real crazy one day. I was like, I want to make a movie and a show at the same time. So I was shooting a movie. I was shooting my second feature as well as doing this season of the show. So I needed literally 3 extra weeks, y'all. So this is what we're coming out. But it was some of the stuff is not totally on purpose. It's just kind of when you fit in the window of, the production, it's kind of above our heads, really. So, but we got right back to work. So I don't know, it feels like we've been pretty busy.
Yeah. And there are some jokes in the trailer about, coming back, the third season of a Netflix series. You have to kind of renovate and change things up a little bit.
So
what was the thought process going in? Because it is there's a lot of different energies, a lot of different people talking to different groups and they've changed. And what was the thought process going into that?
Part of it is I get really bored with myself. So the second we've said something and we've done something, the last thing I want to do is say it again in a slightly different way. The other thing is I feel really since Breaking Bad, honestly, my appetite as a binge viewer, because I binge watch things too, is that I expect it to be I want them to be a little bit further along each season. It used to be when I first started writing for television, the #1 rule is to to give all of your characters problems and never let them solve them. Like, never let them get over their weaknesses, because then the show's over. Because the reason you watch TV, at least the conventional wisdom, is that you want to see them kind of doing the same things over and over again, but just in different circumstances. But because we watch things all together, it's more like a sequel than it is like, you know, another episode. Like, each season is kind of like its own little thing. And so that's how we've been treating it. And I don't know, it keeps me from not being bored, which is great. And I think it allows for our characters to like grow and to show more of our audience themselves. And that's the whole point, isn't it?
And characters did grow. Logan, Sam is a new woman a little bit this season. She stepped away from the Dear White People show, and she's trying to find herself.
Yeah, she is. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun because the audience and myself has been able to see Sam, you know, through many iterations of her struggles, through her losing her dad, and yeah, this season she's trying to find herself through her documentary, and I think she makes a good effort. And it's difficult. You know, we all have passions and things that we're really excited to do, but sometimes you don't exactly know how to do them, and that's the situation that Sam is in. She knows that she has a voice, she has something to say, but not exactly how to go from here to there, and that's really what she's going through.
I also feel like the people in her life are very honest with her because she's so honest with them, and she kind of gets called out on her stuff.
She does.
To a point that sometimes I'm like, damn, could you be a little nicer? She's trying to grow.
Yeah, but I think what's great is having people like that in your life, like real friends, real people who want to see you grow, because you should be worried if the people around you are being quiet, you know, when you're on your BS.
Yeah, no, you look great.
I just always love it when Sam's like, all right, damn, all right.
Yeah. She's like really hurt.
And one person who does that to her consistently is Joelle.
Thanks, Joe.
Who you play so beautifully. I love Joelle so much on so many different layers. But this season we get to see a different vulnerability in her because she's in love.
She is. Joelle's in these streets this season.
Right.
We all
how do you
wanted
think
it.
that
We all got
has
it.
changed her or evolved her in season 3? Because she's such a giver to the people in her life, but she's really kind of being tested, I think, in this relationship.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful thing to see, because I think the relationship that you're able to see this season with Joelle and Reggie is something that you've been hoping for since season 1, or wondering if it would ever happen. Yeah. So this season, it does. And it's a thrilling yet really honest and vulnerable and crazy ride, because the truth is both of us are dealing with a lot of stuff and have, as you know, if you enter into a relationship with a lot of baggage, somebody's going to have to pick up the bags and take them somewhere. So that's basically what we're dealing. We're like fighting over the suitcase and trying to figure out what to do with it. But, you know, working with Marquis Richardson, who plays Reggie, is just a joy, and we have such great chemistry. But I'm excited for people to see what this relationship is, and wonder if you'll still root for them at the end. So,
I mean, you.
I know y'all gonna let us know in the Twitters.
y'all are gonna for sure.
Black Twitter gonna let us know.
It is a roller coaster, but like you said, I feel like it's a really authentic portrayal of a relationship, especially at that stage in your life.
Because relationships are not perfect, especially in college. Like, they're just not. It's impossible.
And then we have Coco.
Then we have Coco.
And we have Coco, who is just always striving to be number one. She's always striving to infiltrate, but she really kind of hits a wall this season with how far she's able to like break into white spaces, I think. So how does that affect her and how she interacts with the rest of the crew?
Well, Coco does not take lightly to not getting what she wants, but she's nevertheless going to persist, to put it lightly. I think it's interesting to see her throw herself into her work, so we get to see her academic career, and how much of a badass she actually is, I want to say, needless to say. But I feel like there are moments that she really had to stop and process other things that possibly happened in her life. And I don't want to give too much away, but, and then, you know, her mom shows up and that it's just this whole world that she's trying to project and show everyone that she has it together it might not be so by the end of the series. So you never know. It's entertaining to watch though.
You gave a really good answer because there are so many spoilers that you can step into. So
Yeah.
like, well played.
Yeah, you were like Minesweeper just now.
Yeah,
you were
I'm
like
Dodging it.
institutional racism, feminism. You know, good. It was good.
All the themes.
We also have a new character this season.
A lot of characters.
Well,
There's a
one
few.
in particular.
I'm like, which one?
A special one.
Chester.
Oh, yeah.
I love the
Chester.
introduction of Chester. And I want to know, Justin, where did that come from?
Well, God, this is really hard without
Spoiling it. This is why I tossed it.
I mean, you know, how do I answer this question? So Chester is the name of this anonymous Black gay man on campus, and he is writing these like almost zine-style kind of diaries about Winchester, and everyone is sort of reading it. And it's kind of like Gossip Girl-y. It's like, who is it? Who is it? And it's Lionel. I mean, that part's not actually a secret, but like, but it's sort of a way for him to explore his blackness and his gayness and the intersection of that and the awkwardness of that and all of that in a way that I think is really authentic and true to that character. I mean, it's, you know, everybody wants more of each thing that we're doing in the show, and certainly one of the things people really wanted to see, well, what is the gay black experience at Winchester? And Lionel has been kind of dipping his toe in it so delicately, you know, each season. I just kind of want to literally just throw him in, you know, and see if he can swim.
Who voices Chester?
Well, about that. Can we say it?
About that.
It's
voices it?
Duran Horton.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
him.
Duran.
It's the same.
He's
really
brilliant. Takes
Oh.
it down a few.
Oh yeah, that's all Duran.
Okay, you brought it.
Oh yeah, no.
Have you ever
Yeah.
met Duran?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
Well, then you.
Okay.
Is his voice that deep?
Oh
not
yes,
Lionel
ma'am.
at all. Like,
No,
No,
he's
he's-
adding a little
This
something
right
to Chester.
here
Well,
is
give him an
acting.
That is an
Yeah,
act.
I know, right?
Duran.
No, you meet him and you're like, wait, what?
Wait, what? Who are you?
Not
No,
like
but he adds a little bit of, he adds some bass to Chester, for
Wait,
sure.
did you get that Chester is from Winchester? Because it took
Nope.
us a while.
I didn't get it.
We for sure didn't get that.
Now we all get it.
I was this age when I found that out. Just right now.
Ah,
8
yes.
years old.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. But I did love that this season we really get to see more of the Black queer experience, not just through him, but also through Kelsey. Why was that important to add in? Because it was a huge theme in this season, and one that I think was very much like a breath of fresh air because it was super relevant.
Well, I think, you know, this season is all about going past the places that normal TV shows just sort of stop. I mean, really, we shade the things we love, and that's why we sort of throw that little line in there about, you know, the third season of a Netflix show, because yeah, it is kind of, characters kind of get stuck in seasons, like the third or the fourth season. You're like, okay, you kind of did that already, boo. You know, like what's going on? And I wanted to just expand, and I wanted to see what actually happens in college, which is like every semester you're low key a different person, and we just never got to see those spaces before. We never got to meet those characters before, and I'm really excited. There's a character named Deontay who I named him after a really good friend of mine who passed away shortly after we were in high school together. And he was one of those people who was just ahead of his time. Like if he could have made it out of his 20s, you know what I mean? And we all could have seen that like light on him, he would have been a huge star. And I felt like, I want to give voice to that, you know? Because Lionel is experimenting with his queer identity. But I wanted to make space for someone who knew what that was already and to see what their relationship might be. And I'm just really excited about people experiencing that.
I really loved watching that journey.
Yeah,
for
they're
him
fun.
this season.
Yeah.
We also get to see white privilege show its face in a lot of different, it's like in every storyline. Yeah. So what is it like for you guys to get to dig into these topics that are things that we're talking about with our friends, but really like putting characters, putting names, putting faces, having these conversations in the show to kind of like spread awareness or like wake people up? I don't know.
It feels like life imitating art, imitating life.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Totally
right.
upside down. Yeah, 100%. But it's beautiful to be able to have our art be a function of our activism and be able to speak out on topics that are relevant today. Because I feel like a lot of people identify with the show because of the authenticity of the show and how present it is. And then that's the creator and all the amazing writers that we have. Like they really have their ear to the ground and they kind of understand the trajectory of where pop culture is going and where the world is going. So that's why when it comes out, you're like, how do you know that was gonna happen? And you're like, because they're brills.
It's actually kind of scary. It's kind of scary because even in the like packet that like we submitted to Lionsgate and to Netflix when we were doing the first season, there's a joke in there about like quote unquote Emperor Trump. And then here we are, and I'm like, I need to stop saying stuff because it always, like the bad and the good, like it always seems to kind of happen at some point. But I think, you know, what we're trying to do is it is a satire that becomes like a morbid documentary the longer it's out, I guess. But like, yeah, we're trying to say something true, you know? And so we're really trying to say something not only true that makes sense in the moment, we're using the language of popular culture, but we're saying stuff that's always been true and that may always be true, you know? And we're aiming for the human condition. Like, it's a Black show, it's through a Black point of view. Yes, we're talking about all this cool stuff, but we're aiming for something more universal and deeper. Yeah.
Like you said, it's so on topic, and I'm sure you wrote this a while ago, and things then become a reality. Even the conversation about like straight white male and that era kind of ending is a theme in here with a character that I didn't necessarily see it coming with. You know what I mean? It's really on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully in the good way, it's on the nose, you know. But like, yeah, I mean, it's sort of. It's part diary too, you know. The movie that it's based on was so personal to me, and when we go into the writers' room, what I want out of all of the writers, like I want your stories, like I want the stuff that you can't do in other rooms, like I want your truth, and that is what you're feeling on that screen. Is a lot of people's even like the lines, you know, you don't even know sometimes. Like we weave our shit into this, stuff into this show so intricately. That's the word, intricately. That it just strikes a nerve, and you're not sure why, but it's because it's somebody's truth that we put in there.
And as actors, I just want to point out that, like, that's what makes it fun, but also sometimes really difficult and painful because we're dealing with things in such a raw way. And hopefully that's why all of you can resonate with the show. But there's been many times we've shot scenes that have just been really hard for everybody. And not even necessarily on set, but I've gone home and felt really heavy or emotional. Now it's cathartic, and that's why I love to act, and it's what we do. But being on a show that's so well written and so on the pulse of everything that's going on, it makes you question everything in your life and who you are and what type of person you want to be and all of those wonderful things. So I feel like we're all better because of Dear White People.
On that note, one of the major storylines deals with the way the Black community holds up our heroes. And that is a conversation that a lot of people try to skirt past, especially when we have Bill Cosby and R. Kelly and all these other figures that people love. And I thought it's really brave to sort of confront how the community deals with that. For you guys, when you read that storyline, what was your reaction? And
I was like, get him.
Yeah.
Get him.
Right.
Keep it real.
Yeah.
Put every single one of those jokes in there because it's like egg on your face. If you realize, wait, I'm one of those people who will just completely ignore how much of a predator someone is just because I want to bop to their music and like totally silence women's voices just based on the fact that you want to be able to, I don't know, step in the name of love if you feel like it at a wedding.
For instance.
An example.
Par exemple. No, I mean, I think that the thing is, too, is like there's so many both can be true moments that we try to go for in the show. Yeah. Because, like, you know, and there's a lot of stuff about heroes in this particular season, but the part of it, too, is like I don't want people of color who are ambitious and any people, but specifically people of color, striving and being ambitious and being in these new spaces, sometimes new white spaces that they've never been in, and have all this stuff hit them for the first time. Because some of the tea in the show you don't really hear about in shows. You don't know about it until you actually experience it. And you know, shame is a thing that we pass around in the Black community. It's a thing that's what's at the heart of racism. And when our elders sometimes don't really do right by us, you know, we live by that rule of respect our elders and we hide their shame for them. And I just couldn't do that anymore in a few instances in my personal life. And I think we as a people, we need to be able to see things that are right in front of our faces, even when it's in the eyes of somebody that we love or made us feel like we belong to. We need to see it and we need to say it when we see it.
And that's why the show is so cool, too, because each of the students is expressing that through their art, whether it's a documentary or the radio show or writing articles. Like, it's something that feels really tangible, and you see it actually happening, that activism. I have a question about the final looks. You know, they're iconic at this point. I want to know, what is the process for, like, really nailing that, you know? because it's always like a slow, and then you look, and it's just like always impactful. What are the conversations around that? Do you guys ever get nervous going into those, or?
We love it. It's one of my favorite parts. I love it.
I do too. Our directors take a lot of liberty when it comes to that. Like I remember Sally Richardson Whitfield being very specific with Ashley last season with the looks that she wanted, and Justin is always very particular. And this season, you'll notice that multiple people are looking at the camera, and the episodes are multi-protag within an episode, which is breaking the norm that Justin's already set. And it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's about like, can you see me? Can you see me now? You know, because I think the show, what we do is like we're gloss and we're anti-gloss. You know, it's like the show looks so pretty, it looks like candy, but we're dealing with some real stuff. And you know, it's so easy, even in a positive way, for people who are not marginalized to put marginalized people in boxes and go like, no, I get that. You're bad, you're fabulous, whatever it is. Like, you put us in these little boxes and bows. And I think what we do on the show is I love to present people as they appear and then rip off the lid and show you who they are. And that look into camera really is like, no, this is a show that wants you to engage with it. We're not wallpaper television. I mean, you can put us on. That helps us get renewed, frankly. So you can put us on if you want while you're cooking and doing other things. But the show, like, it's best when you're engaged and you're having a conversation with this show. And that's why we look at you. It's like,
But
no, we
Justin,
can see you too.
You know what? I think about it as like, you know, do you see us? But I also take it as like,
We
I
see
We
you.
see you. We see you.
Because for me, particularly in episode 2, what I was working with Marta Cunningham on was like, I wanted you, the audience, to know that I know you can see me and I'm really vulnerable right now. It's almost like I don't want you to be seeing this part of me, but I know you see it. So like, are you still gonna rock with me for the next 8 episodes? Like that was kind of how I internalized it. But it's one of my favorite parts because it's so raw and you don't see it often in shows, but it's a way, I think, that gets the audience to connect in a way that makes you want more seasons. It makes you really care about these characters in a way that you might not care about another show because you're not connected in the same way. But if we look you in the eye, just like I'm looking you in the eye, we're connected. You can't deny it. So it's just really powerful.
I can't wait till you see the number 5 one.
I was just about to say.
That one,
it is brilliant.
With
I got chills.
Coco's mom.
Is that Parents Weekend?
Parents
Yeah,
Weekend.
I got chills.
Was that planned?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was like okay.
happened by chance. It's preparation.
Honey, it's all planned. Not all of it, but
And I love it.
It worked
my
like
favorite.
magic.
yeah, it's one of my favorite camera looks.
I watched it 3 times. I'm not lying. I was like,
It's
funny.
so good.
I can't wait till you guys see it.
Oh my God, don't you guys want to see it too?
I know. Let's cue it up. Somebody cue it up, please.
I can't wait till you
and before we
It's like, yeah, was it great? Cool.
before we go to audience questions, I just have to ask: do you guys think the Black Illuminati is a real thing?
Justin?
No,
If I were you, I wouldn't say that on camera.
not at all. What do you mean?
Of course not.
I just wanted to know how you felt about
Kill
it.
my family.
I love you,
cool.
Beyonce, or whoever's in it.
Oprah, I'm right here. Michelle, I see you. I acknowledge you.
I think secret societies are, I know they're a very real thing.
Yeah. Well, there's aristocracy is in the nation's DNA, you know, in every community, in our community, in the communities at large, white people, everybody got like a little upper crust that not everybody else knows about and can't get into. That's a human thing, you know. So, and they kind of run stuff. They still do.
Is it they or is it
I
we?
love the no comment from you. You're like, I'm not trying to piss anybody
Yeah, Logan's
off.
like, I'm literally in it, and I can't talk about it.
Just for the record, I am in full support of the Black everything.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, by the way,
Ditto.
yes.
Cool. We're all on the same page.
Get them Freemasons or whoever else.
I will happily join. I will be a top member. I think we have a couple questions. Who do we have first?
Yeah.
Or I guess we'll go to Twitter first. Just joking. Edward is the man asked, are you guys like your characters in real life? Logan, we'll start with you.
Hey, Eddie.
Eddie. What if he's been like that?
Oh, sorry, Ed. word. Am I like my character in real life? I think in some ways yes, and in some ways no. I think that I learn quicker than Sam when I make mistakes. I hope so. But I think that Sam is very strong-willed. I think that what I love about her is she's basically a champion for all people, and she like that the bone in her body that wants to be a part of the movement, not just to be a part of it, but to actually change the world. I relate to that. And it's like, it doesn't go away. Even when you're not, saying something, you feel it always. And I think that, carries you from day to day. So I feel that with Sam.
We have some similarities. I mean, I think a blaring difference is that I didn't go to a PWI for college. I went to a historically Black university. I went to Howard University, so I didn't have the feeling of walking around college and feeling like the black face at a white place. But what I identify the most with Joelle and that we have in common is that we both take on a lot and forget to have an outlet for ourselves. Joelle hasn't gotten to it yet, maybe 4th season, but Ashley started going to therapy, and that's been very helpful. But I definitely identify with being someone who's like, I'm fine, I'm totally fine all the time, and you're not. Nobody's fine all the time. So, yeah, and I love that about Joelle, but it's hard as Ashley sometimes.
I feel like there are definitely parallels that exist between myself and Coco. Coco's really good at playing the game. So like she'll talk to whomever and align herself with people to get what she wants. I'm very to the point. Like if I don't like you, you're gonna see it on my face. So like I feel like also as Black women, we understand navigating the terrain that is this world and trying to figure out who we are. There are instances where I feel like now I have more Coco-isms. It's really interesting. Like I'm not a girly girl. I mean, I think they kind of know that. I'm always in sweatpants and my hair's in a bun and my glasses on my face. So in that regard, they're completely different. We do this for press and for fun and stuff, but for the most part, I'm in my sneakers, so.
All right, next question.
Yes, come on, overall.
Yes, bun.
And yes,
y'all look amazing. I just
thank
wanna
you.
say
You
that.
do too.
Yes, body. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
you, girl.
So my question's actually for Logan. I've been following your acting career over the years, and I was just wondering if you can be in any remake or reboot of a movie or show. Which one would it be and why?
Oh my gosh.
Logan, what you trying to do?
That's such a good question.
What you trying to do, Logan? Can I come?
Yes, everyone come.
Yes.
Yes, you come. Wow, a reboot. Okay, so maybe like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
I don't know if I want them to like redo it, but that would be so much fun to just be in like another like family sitcom that like everyone loves and like, upper class, but like dealing with regular issues. I don't know.
That'd be lit.
I love it, Logan. I can see you on it.
Thank you.
I like it.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm gonna think about it tonight, and I'm gonna tweet when I actually figure out what I want to do, because that might not be it.
That was a good off-the-cuff response.
I
watched that show.
I can see you
yeah.
on it, Logan. I'd cast you.
I see it.
I would.
Ooh, Martin. Yeah.
Martin.
Yes, come on.
Ooh.
There you go. Yeah, she's a casting director.
Yes, that'd be so good.
Good question.
That's fun.
Hi, how are
Hi. Come on, Strike.
Love your jumpsuit.
you guys are so amazing on this show. I love you guys so much. And I definitely relate to Joelle's character a lot. So thank you guys so much. I wanted to know, in the show this season, do you guys touch on mental health? I know you guys did that last season. Do you guys explore that a little bit more?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, for me, thank you for the question. Like, I've been suffering from depression since I was an adolescent, since way before I knew what it even was. And one of the things I wanted to do this season is to show it what it looks like, specifically dysthymia, which is a kind of depression that's just low grade. Like, you're never really pressed, you're never like in despair, but it's just like kind of like a, you know what I mean? And so we kind of do that a bit through Reggie, who has gone through a lot of like trauma that we actually see on camera, and a lot of it that's like inferred, that we just know comes from just being Black and on the planet. And how that shows up in his relationship with Joelle, to me, I wanted to make sure that was nuanced and real, because that is something that a lot of folks are going through, but they don't know there's a name for it. Yeah. They don't know that there's a process through it. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like, well, this is everyday life, and everyone's like this. Everyone's not like that, you know? And it was important to not make it PSAE, and sort of like have someone, well, Reggie, you have dysthymia. I didn't want to do that. But I wanted to just show what it looks like and how it shows up, and have you, the audience, kind of put it together. So we definitely go there.
You definitely definitely go there. And I love it's a proactive approach too of showing that you can take an active role in your mental health. You know, I thought that was really important.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, being black is hard. It's really hard. Being human is really hard. But if you think that you've been black your whole life and have suffered nothing for it, like you're in denial. You're in denial and you're repressing stuff because you had to. But you know, when you can get to a space where you don't have to repress it anymore, you should stop. You should figure out a way to stop it because it's keeping us from living our best lives. You know.
Yes.
I loved Clifton's role in
I do too. He's such a sweet pea.
being like caring about someone when you see them going through something and not like making them feel any type of way about it, but just kind of being their mirror and being like, this is what I see. This is what I see you going through. I've noticed this, and without any judgment. I think that Clifton's actually a really great roommate for that.
He is.
Yeah, he's
Crazy but great.
He's
but
crazy.
That's good for
Pure
you.
comedy.
Pure comedy.
Yeah.
Next one.
Hi.
Hi.
Y'all
Yes,
look
stripes.
so
You
love
have
your
stripes
hair.
too. Come on, girl.
Yes.
Yes. Y'all are doing it.
So because of the nature of your show, do y'all feel personal pressure to represent the culture justly? And if so, are there any topics on the show that you refuse to do or are hesitant to cover?
I always it's not pressure though, but I do feel that it's important for me to represent Black women in a positive light. And I say that because I'm a Black woman first. I'm not a woman I'm a Black woman first. When you see me, it is undeniable that I'm a Black woman, and I feel that it is my duty and honestly my honor to be able to be on such a large platform and portray a character that's so powerful and that so many women can see themselves in, and that is so eloquent and smart and all of these wonderful, beautiful things that so many of us are. And I think that's important. I have to keep that first because I do it for the culture. That's real, and I'll never deny that, and I'll never deny us. So, yeah.
I think for me, it's not really a pressure, because pressure is like outside in. Like, I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it because it's my intention, you know, is to shine a light on stories. Every season, every character, the first thing I think of, what haven't they seen yet? And what haven't we talked about yet? Like, what of us have we not shown yet? And, you know, we can't hit everything every season, of course, but it's part of why I'm here, like, as an artist. Like, it's what gets me up in the morning. So I wouldn't call it a pressure, because if I was pressured, I mean, it would just be a kitchen sink show where, like, every issue and every episode is covered, because everybody wants more. You know, we're starved. We don't have a lot. We don't have a lot that talks about us. And we start to, like, kind of get into some trans stuff this season. Certainly, like, the LGBTQIA community on Winchester gets fleshed out a little bit more. But, you know, all of it, we're just scratching the surface. There's so many stories there to mine. But, you know, for me, it's like, that's why I'm an artist. You know, it's to show people, it's to show us ourselves. You know, that's so important. If you don't see yourself, the message that you're getting subliminally is that you're not supposed to be here. And we can't go through the world feeling like we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You know?
I appreciate that throughout the seasons, if you touch on one topic, you, Justin, and the writers, it's not like, did that and it's done. It's an ongoing conversation, and I find that very important. And I appreciate that as someone who's on the show, but also who likes to watch the show.
Yeah.
I do find myself going back and sort of revisiting other episodes out. You know what I mean? I do think it's a show that you can go back and rewatch things and see a different point of view.
There are so many jokes that no one has got. Like, there are so many micro jokes in, like, season 1 that people are still like, did you just throw shit? Oh my God, that was a Michael Jackson joke. What? You know, people like still picking up on stuff.
So fast, and it's so smart. You have to really like pay attention.
We try to give y'all a meal.
Yeah.
We try to give y'all like a whole meal every episode. You
not
know,
a snack.
you can snack on it if you want to. You can make a little sandwich out of it if you want to. But when you come back, the greens are still gonna be there. The starch is gonna be there too.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah. You know.
Next one.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I saw you guys at 92Y last night.
Yes, thank you for the support.
No problem.
Yes.
My question is for Justin. I was wondering, as a writer and a director myself, I was wondering, when you're in the writer's room and you have such a great cast, do you think about making, you know, storylines and roles for the cast so that they can really show how good they are as actors?
No, I'm just like,
yeah.
What's Ashley talking about? Who cares? No. I mean, they're at this point, you know, on a third season, the cast is just as responsible for this tomfoolery as we are, because we really are. We're inspired by them, you know. And the things that audiences love about the characters are, yeah, some of it is because that's on the page, but some of it because these are the spirits, these are the souls that are like, you know, in those particular vessels. So all the time we're thinking about, I mean, everything from like, you know, Ashley Joelle's singing debut last season, you know, that was inspired by just Ashley just singing on Instagram. I think I put it on Instagram, but whatever.
Yeah, you did it. You recorded it.
Yeah, no, but like it goes both ways. We sometimes it's fan fiction, you know. Sometimes we're just fanficking our friends, and sometimes it's like, oh, I really want people to see this side of so and so, you know. Yeah, that goes into it for sure. Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm a big fan of the show. For so many reasons. I think the first is that it really, I think, just so beautifully shows the different experiences within the Black community. And I think in so many other shows, you just get to see one point of view. And this one is so beautiful and fleshed out. There's also just always the balance between drama and serious themes and just like laugh out loud comedy and hilarity. It's such a special show. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you. You're the best.
And if you guys want to check it out, Dear White People hits Netflix this Friday, August 2nd. Please put your hands together for Justin, Logan, Ashley, and Antoinette.
Thank you.